Chelsea travelled to Azerbaijan hoping to take care of business, but instead, we left frustrated. From taking the lead to throwing it away, as well as the 5 things we learned from Qarabag 2, Chelsea 2. But before we dive into this review, if you are new here, welcome to the channel. Or if you have been following me for a while, you know the drills. Help your boy get to 10k subscriber. Let's dive into it. Chelsea 2, Qarabag 2. And honestly, this was one of those games that really test your mentality as a team. We dominated the ball, controlled the rhythm, but Qarabag made us work for every single inch. We took the lead through Estêvão, and what a finish that was. The composure, the intelligence, the movement. But straight after that, we switched off. Garnacho, who is usually calm under pressure, just hesitated for a second and Qarabag pounced, and suddenly the stadium came alive. Then it got worse. A moment of bad luck, Hato's handball, penalty given, and Djokovic absolutely buries it. No chance for Robert Sanchez. At that point, we needed a spark, and it came from Garnacho fresh off the bench. And within minutes, he rifles one in, pure confidence, and that's exactly what we needed to get back into it. From there, we kept pushing. The lap had his chances. Enzo tried to make things happen, but Garnacho had one deflected wide, but the breakthrough never came up. We had 61% possession, 16 shots, but not a single big chance created. That's the worrying part. We controlled the game, but we didn't hurt them enough. And credit to Qarabag, the XG was actually higher than ours, 1.80 to our 1.11, and that tells you everything. They were more sufficient, more dangerous when it mattered. Both teams on 7 points after 4 Champions League games. We have shown quality, but also vulnerability. We need to be sharper, because in Europe, small details cost big results. Which brings me to the first thing we learned. Enzo Maresca didn't do his homework, because let's be real, that performance screamed underprepared. Qarabag didn't just sit deep and hoop. They exploited the space we left wide open, especially in the first half. Andrej equalizer in the 29th minute, and Djokovic's penalty 10 minutes later. Both came from moments that looked completely preventable. And when you look at that lineup, it starts to make sense. Maresca went with a heavily rotated 11. Sanchez in goal, Rich James, Tosin, Garnacho, Cucurella at the back, Andre Santos, Romeo Lavia in midfield, and then a front four of Estêvão, João Pedro, Gittin, Tyrick George. Now I get it. Rotation is part of the game, but this looks like we are treating a Champions League away match like a Conference League fixture. You have got 2 proper strikers sitting on the bench, and you start Tyrick George. That's bold. Maybe too bold. And look, George is a talented kid, but this wasn't his night. He finished with a 6.0 rating, played 45 minutes, had just 13 touches, 1 shot, 1 key passes. Compare that to Leon Delap, who came in the second half, dropped a 6.6 rating, 7 touches, 1 shot, 1 key pass, and somehow looked far more alive in the game. Even with fewer touches, Delap offered presence, movement, and physical edge we were crying out for. But this issue were beyond individuals. Once we went 2-1 down, we looked completely lost. There was no structure, no response, no tactical shift. It didn't feel like we were a team chasing 3 points. It felt like we were hoping something would happen. And that's on Enzo Maresca. You can't go into a Champions League group game unprepared. Not at this level. We didn't look like a team that deserved to win. Which brings me to the second thing we learned. Defensive organization. Once again, Chelsea's backline showed serious fragilities, and it's becoming a worrying trend right now. We looked nervous, disjointed, completely reactive whenever Qarabag broke forward. The spacing was all wrong, the communication wasn't there, and we paid for it. Let's talk about Garnacho first. It wasn't his night. Penalty came from his handball, but it wasn't just that moment. It was the whole performance. A 5.8 rating tells its own story. 1 interception, 2 clearance, 4 recoveries, but also 1 error leading to a shot, 1 leading to a goal, and of course the penalty conceded. You could literally hear the commentator say Hato had a nightmare. Chelsea were so open. And he wasn't alone. Tosin Adrabayo, and honestly, this one hurts to say. He was all over the place positionally. For the first goal, he was caught in no man's land, offering neither cover nor leadership. Yes, on paper the numbers looks fine. 7.4 rating, 3 out of 3 tackles won, 6 recoveries, 91 pass accuracy. But let's be honest, those stats don't tell the story. I think every Chelsea fan watching that game knows exactly what we saw. No control, no communication, no organization. You can't have a centre-back with those numbers and still look that shaky. The stats flattered him. They don't reflect the reality. When the ball comes into dangerous areas, there was hesitation, confusion, zero coordination between the two centre-backs. And that's a major lesson here. Defensive organization remains a major issue. We can talk about tactics, possession, or rotation all we want. But until the backline start functioning as a unit, not individuals, we'll keep conceding this kind of goals. Which brings me to the third thing we learned. Complacency is still killing us. Because once again we took the lead. Estêvão brilliant finish in the 16th minute. But instead of building on it, we switched off. Qarabag didn't have to do anything special. They just stayed alert, stay hungry, and suddenly it's 2-1. And that right there is the problem. It's not about tactics, it's not about age, it's the mentality. When you score early goal, you can't think the game is done. You can't drop the tempo, stop pressing, stop moving. But that's exactly what we did. The energy faded, the focus disappeared, and we paid for it. And this isn't new. We have seen this pattern all season. Against Spurs, against PSG in the Club World Cup. When it's big occasion, we show up. But in games where we are the favourites, we just go through the motion. It's like we turn up when we feel like it. And that's not how elite team operates. Every single game should matter. Every single minute. Because right now, all the games we have lost this season has come when we were expected to win. That's not coincidence. That's complacency. And honestly, it's becoming annoying. If this team wants to be taken serious in Europe, that mindset has to change. Which brings me to the fourth thing we learned. Injury is still haunting us. Because once again, an early setback completely changed the rhythm of the game. Romeo Lavia, when he's finally getting a run in the team, pulls up within minutes and you could feel the shifts instantly. That forced Caicedo to come on earlier than planned. And from that moment, the entire structure of our midfield felt off balance. You could see the pressing wasn't as coordinated, the defensive shape started to open up, and it affected everything from our build-up to our recovery runs. It's those little disruptions that pile up over 90 minutes, especially in our away game in Europe. But you have to feel for Lavia. He has been working so hard to get back, only to pick up another problem. Maresca said after the game, "I think it's a quad injury. We feel very ashamed, especially for him, because he's not able to be fit for long. We will see now. It's too early to understand what kind of injury. Hopefully, it's not a big one." You can sense the frustration there, not just from the manager, but from everyone. Because injuries like this don't just test individuals, it tests squad depth. And when you're already rotating, when you're already trying to balance the Champions League with Premier League, one more injury can throw everything off. We have been here too many times. This pattern needs to stop, because we can't build momentum while consistently patching up holes. And the final thing we learn, the Estêvão show is very real. Because in a night full of frustration, chaos and inconsistency, one player looked like he belonged on a different level. William Estêvão. Just 18, but he's already playing like he has been in Champions League for years. His early goals set the tone. That sharp movement, the composure, the timing, that's what real quality looks like. And it's not just the goal, he was consistently trying to make things happen. Consistently demanding the ball, consistently asking questions of that Qarabag defense. Finished with a 7.8 rating, 1 goal, 3 key passes, 3 shots, 56 touches, 83% pass accuracy, 3 successful dribbles, 2 tackles won, 2 recoveries, and even an aerial duel victory. Those are elite numbers, but more importantly, he passed the eye test. You could see the class, the confidence, the swagger. We are genuinely watching one of the future stars of football in our own colors. The way he glides past players, the way he reads the game, is level above his age group. And in nights like this where the team struggles, players like Estêvão remind you why there is so much excitement about Chelsea's future. And credit to Alejandro Garnacho, came off the bench, scored the equalizer in the 53rd minute, gave us a lifeline, 45 minutes, 1 goal, 3 shots, 1 key passes. He made an impact when we needed it. So yes, it wasn't a perfect performance, far from it. But Estêvão and Garnacho gave us flashes of what this new Chelsea can become. On a tough Champions League night, they are the reason why we still walked away with something. With that said, that's the end of the video, my friends. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. It go be.